Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal branding and business development company. I want to take you on a journey that takes another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal story, business conversations, and tips to improve your personal brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand podcast series, you will be able to differentiate yourself from the competition and allow you to build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build trust, and reflect who you are. Developing your 5-star personal brand is a great way to demonstrate your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh, spelled M-C-G-A-U-G-H, at 5-star BDM, B for brand, D for development, M for masters.com. Now let's begin with our next 5-star episode on Follow the Brand. With a passion for the delivery of healthcare, Oyinkansola Bukky Ogunrinde finds her brand through integrity, trust, and building solid relationships. As we conclude Black History Month and begin Women's History Month, I would like to introduce you to the first African-American woman to lead the ACAT of South Florida. This is the Follow the Brand podcast, and I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, where we are building a 5-star brand that you can follow. Bukky is an immigrant from Nigeria who was born into a family of healthcare practitioners and found value in helping clinicians and physicians with their businesses to focus on medical care. She is a practice coach who leverages learning agility, critical analytic thinking, and strategic planning to achieve a positive outcome for her clients. Bukky encourages us to follow a personal brand framework and believe in yourselves to navigate our endeavors. If the door is closed, look for the open window to your dreams. Bukky is the CEO and independent principal consultant providing administrative, clinical, and financial operations management and strategic growth services to single and group physician practices, ambulatory and outpatient centers. She has over 10 years of healthcare management in various provider settings, including hospital, practice, ambulatory, and post-acute. She has worked as the Director of Physician Surgical Operations, Operations Manager, Planning and Performance Improvement Leader, and Management Fellow leading operation teams in fast-paced and result-oriented settings over the years. Her focus is on the overall clinical, administrative, and financial improvement, optimization, and effectiveness of ambulatory operations, especially physician practices. She is a certified patient-centered medical home professional and holds certificates in population health management and macro MIPS proficiency. Bukky has a Master of Health Service Administrative degree from the University of Michigan and a Bachelor of Science degree in biology with a minor in chemistry from North Carolina Central University. She is a board member and president of the American College of Health Executives and a member of the South Florida Medical Group Management Association chapter. Let's welcome Bukky to the Follow the Brand podcast. Welcome everyone to another fantastic show on the Follow the Brand podcast. We bring something special every week. And this week, I get to bring a special guest and a special friend. I've known her for 5+ years. And this year, she's making history. She's part of one of South Florida's premier community associations for healthcare executives, known as the American College of Healthcare Executives of South Florida, also known as CHEF for many, many years, I think over 50 years. And she is now the first African-American woman to lead the organization. So Bukky, if you don't mind, come to the mic, tell us a little bit more about your story, and let's have a great time.
Well, thank you, Grant. I really appreciate you having me. Absolutely. Happy Black History Month. And as you mentioned, we're certainly making history I am proud to be among just a pool of talented folks as the first Black woman to lead this organization, American College of Health Executives of the South Florida chapter. We're one of 28 chapters in a huge organization that is 48,000 members strong. So really proud of that. And of course, in my daytime, I work with a number of clinicians, physicians, providers, help to enhance their business, partly as a consultant or practice coach. So definitely glad to be here to converse with you. And thank you again for giving me the opportunity.
Well, since you are such a business professional and you've been doing a very highly level skilled entrepreneur for a number of years in the healthcare field, I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
Thank you. That's a great question. The advice that I would give, first of all, is to ensure that you have a passion for healthcare, right? Passion for taking care of people, passion for the delivery of healthcare. I think that's fundamental, and that goes for any kind of endeavor or any industry. But also, I would give you advice that people should research what healthcare entails. I think often we can have a tunnel vision that it's lands on hospitals, and that is certainly the case in health systems. But also look at the various options that's out there, which lend itself to the lane that I'm currently in as a consultant, an entrepreneur, like a business advisor, right? And again, there are other fields in the industry, whether it's on the payer side, health management organizations. Those are all opportunities. And of course, a number of startups, tech-based startups, all in the delivery of care that people should definitely explore. So keep your options open, look at various things that are out there, and then determine what you don't want. That's really a good way to go. The other thing I would advise, of course, as the president of ACHE, and call it a shameless plug, or any other health organizations that's out there, you want to be a part of those kind of organizations. If you want to join an industry or join any kind of organization, you want to be around those who are currently in those organizations, right? So joining an organization such as ACHE of South Florida or others that are out there, talking to like-minded folks, certainly asking them for their advice, their insights are useful ways to learn about the industry to which you're endeavoring to enter. So that's certainly another advice. And dovetailing from that is getting mentors, right? Mentors and sponsors. You can never have enough of those, so that they can really help you and guide you as it relates to your path of interest, or certainly direct you as to perhaps why you shouldn't pursue a certain path of interest, if you will. So I think mentors and sponsors are good things to have in your toolbox. And again, being around folks in those industry will avail you of those individuals. And so that's kind of all that, certainly I will have in terms of advice. And of course, we cannot forget the basic thing. You really have to know your stuff. Right. So when you're taking those classes, make sure that you're leaning into them, you're learning the lingo, the terminology. Healthcare in particular is ever changing. You want to be very conversant in a very timely way, to know what's going on. So certainly just kind of being conversant with all the information and knowledge of that industry is important. But those are just basic requirements.
I love that answer. And I want to get a little bit deeper into your brand and what you do. And I know you came over here from Africa a number of years ago, attended some of the universities. And I did not know that your parents were also in the healthcare industry. Can you just tell us a little bit more about your personal life?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yes, my father is a physician, actually a neurosurgeon. He's since retired. My mother's a nurse. My brother is also a physician currently. And I have a sister, of course, she's in brand marketing. And of course, myself, who is in the healthcare industry as a consultant, basically an administrator, healthcare leader. So in that regard, definitely being around healthcare. And I think that's where that passion, that's where that comes from. And that has shaped me. As you mentioned, I am an immigrant to the United States. And, I'm from Nigeria, which is a Western nation. And certainly, while I miss being in Nigeria, I also love being in America. So I draw on those two cultures to make me who I am. And of course, all the values that the cultures bring, which is really quite amazing. So That's kind of my personal background now in terms of what I do or how I got into healthcare. Really interesting. Medical school was kind of a thought as well. And maybe I would dabble in that, but very quickly it was important to me to provide leadership, because I had leadership skills to help those who do provide those care, i.e. the clinicians, the providers, and help them in terms of what they do. When you think about the motto of my own my business, FUNMI Healthcare Consulting, I do talk about how I am here to help providers with the business so that they can focus on providing medical care, right? They can focus on the medicine. And I think that's important. But of course, I love working with physicians and other providers, whether they're nurse practitioners, physician associates, if you will, and other clinicians that you find in the ambulatory setting to help improve their business. So again, all of that comes from my personal life, my family, already oriented towards healthcare, my journey to the United States, bringing all of me as an immigrant and, of course, as a kind and proud American to make me who I am today. So, and of course, a bunch of mentors along the way helped as well.
Well, that's good information. And I love that you come from a family of healthcare providers. I think that's wonderful. And I think those are good characteristics. Looking into your personal background and what's needed to successfully become a business advisor. I mean, you kind of pivoted into business. You're an entrepreneur. Can you tell us a little bit more what's it like in your world being an entrepreneur?
Wow. So it's really very interesting. Obviously you get to work with different people, right? And it's funny you bring that up because right now I'm currently working with a huge organization, kind of like an HCCN, and they oversee a number of healthcare centers, and I serve as a senior practice coach for them. But I think what that shows is that you do meet a number of different individuals, right? Call them clients, employers, whatever the case may be, that you get to work with. And every day kind of brings something different. I think that's exciting. And which is a hallmark of being an entrepreneur. But of course, there's hard work as well. One of the things as a consultant that you have to do is learn a lot. And not only do you have to learn a lot, as we all have to do, but you have to stay, kind of ahead of the curve. So it's really important that you're on top of the new information that's out there so that you can readily provide it to your clients, if you will, or certainly to the clinicians in the case of healthcare very quickly, right? So that they can make the changes or plan for the changes that they need to make. So reading a lot, it's one of those things, very basic, but absolutely continuous learning by way of taking the formal classes, if you will, or even things like certification courses. Right, and on top of those, having incredible learning agility. It's important that when you interface with information, you know how to digest it, learn it, interpret it, and really teach others, make it much more useful. Those are kind of those things that you find yourself doing, again, as a consultant. And of course, a lot of networking. Just as an entrepreneur, that's one of the ways in which you definitely bring business to yourself. And that is just by acquainting yourself with others who are potential or prospective clients, if you will, and really leading into those relationships and forging those. So a lot of networking absolutely is something that I endeavor as well.
Well, I know you do a lot of that. I've seen you in a number of different events, and you're very, very well known and very, very well liked. And I like that. So, but I want to understand, because I don't know your business as well as you do, meaning, the problem that you're solving, that's much bigger than you and I, but you're passionate about solving with your skills. Can you tell us just a little bit more about that?
Oh, absolutely. So, as I mentioned earlier, I do work with clinicians and physicians. That's what my business is, to help them with their business, from everything administrative to operational improvement to making sure that they're financially viable, and just coming up with those what I call extra medical items that, of course, you have to attend to because healthcare is a business indeed. The skill set that I bring forth to be able to work with clinicians is one, integrity, right? You have to have integrity because they have to trust you with their business as they're seeing patients. And I always bring that to the forefront. That is something that I always manage intentionally, and something that I cannot afford to have in it. So integrity is one of them because, again, my work, my line of work does require trust. Another thing that when it comes to my business, what I do as I'm helping clinicians with their operation is helping them even make some decisions about where they want to be. Now, COVID-19, the pandemic itself has certainly brought about time for reflection, I'm sure for all of us, but for the healthcare industry, and even particularly providers who maintain independent practices. And they have, to deal with the question of whether they want to continue in the same vein. Again, given the impact of COVID, a lot of, practices suffered some revenue losses and disruption to their operations. But also, if they are going to remain by themselves, what are the things that they have to take into account, right? And what is the trajectory? What is the plan? And what are all those considerations that they must think about before they make that decision? Or should they just join a bigger organization, whether it's a hospital system, a healthcare system, or other institutions that are out there? Like I said, payers they also manage providers. They also provide healthcare in addition to providing the reimbursement for those care. There's a number of organizations out there, from Google to Amazon, even Walmart and CVS, Walgreens. All of these entities are all dabbling in healthcare. And believe it or not, they're all recruiting providers, right? So as you're seeing all of these options becoming readily available to clinicians, and as they're trying to make a decision, do I kind of stay in this vein, or do I change, again, forced to think that way because of the pandemic? I bring forth my knowledge and skills and expertise to help them make that decision. So that's one part. The other part of what I'm really passionate about is really being a mentor. I love helping to assist our future or emerging healthcare leaders to get to where they need to, because I was once in that position, and I understand the tough times that sometimes hit you, where you may feel maybe dismayed that you're not making inroads. You want an internship, there's only so many of them. You want an administrative fellowship, you're competing with the entire nation for just a couple of spots. All of those things, I totally understand the challenges, and therefore I do dedicate myself to helping as much as possible our upcoming and emerging leaders. So to that end, mentoring is a big deal. And it was so funny, speaking of the COVID, of the pandemic, when that happened in 2020, you could see the flurry of postings on LinkedIn about students who just literally lost their fellowships and internships. And I had a great partner who came to me and said, hey, what do we need to do? What can we do to help this folks? First of all, I was very honored that they reached out to me. And then, of course, we got together and said, you know what, I think we can come up with a remote healthcare administrative internship. And I was thinking about that. I wasn't quite sure what it would look like, but I think we have enough to make something happen here. And indeed, we created what is called the RIDE program, RHAI, which is a remote healthcare administrative internship, where we align a number of core service areas in healthcare in the hospital. And we brought speakers, high-level speakers, people who do this all the time, experts, actually talk to the students, a lot of show and tell. In addition to a number of the activities they had to do, including producing some community service-based projects that are actually very actionable and were adopted by even some of our healthcare organizations. So again, that's a passion that I have. And I look forward to really capitalizing on that as I look to how I can help increase the capacity when it comes to internships and fellowships in healthcare organizations and hospitals. So I'm really giving some thoughts to what that could look like, and working and talking to a few folks about how we can make this happen, especially in this age of technology. I think the opportunities are definitely out there. So looking forward to explore some more. But
well, I tell you, you've laid out your brand and what you are about. I think we heard that loud and clear, that Miss Bukky is all about mentoring. She's all about helping others. She's about this next generation of healthcare executives, getting them the opportunity to be impactful, because we need everybody. We have a huge labor shortage right now. Healthcare of itself, I believe it's one of the largest industries in the nation, if not in the world. And so there's definitely not a lack of people that are needed in the industry. So we want to get them trained. We want to have the opportunities to really help others, as especially in the United States, as our society gets much older. We're going to need this kind of help. So I believe you told me a little bit about your passion and your energy, and I like that. I really, really, really do. Tell us what are your thoughts around the HCHE during your presidency? What do you want to accomplish during this time?
Well, certainly at ACHE, as we know, ACHE is storied for the work that we do. I mean, our mission speaks to it and is very simple. We want to advance healthcare leaders and we want to advance healthcare leadership excellence, right? So this is something that's personal to me. And as one who's fortunate to be the leader of the South Florida chapter, absolutely, I plan to just carry that on. And of course, I have an incredible team. The board is just amazing. Every single person on that board brings just incredible talent, knowledge, experience that, again, you see reflected throughout the year. Additionally, I do want to mention that, some of the themes that I want to specifically elevate during my term is, collaborating with other organizations, working with NACI, working with HFMA, HIMSS, all of those organizations, however we can collaborate, whether it's networking or education event, SFHA as an example, those are, I think, great things that can only serve our members because, healthcare with individuals in those different areas, if you will, at the end of the day, we're still in one huge pool, right? And there's no reason why we cannot share the knowledge and share the information that we all have to share. That we all have to provide, excuse me. The other thing is inclusion. Again, it's not lost on me as the first African-American woman to lead this organization, but I do want us to be an inclusive organization, right? We want to entertain diversity, equity in healthcare. We are in healthcare, inclusion, and even belonging. So not only do we want people to be included, and inclusion is important, but we want to feel like they belong. And this is for everyone. This is an organization for everybody. And in terms of all the programs and all the events that we put forth, hopefully you will see that reflected.
This episode is brought to you by 5-Star BDM. 5-Star BDM is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for small to mid-sized businesses and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement in operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our 5-Star business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. The result is more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Please visit www.5starbdm.com to learn more and view all the episodes of Follow the Brand.
Also, connection. It's really important that I connect to the members. That is something that I do in my own business anyway, or in any kind of engagement, any company, any organization that I work for. It's about connecting with the people, because when you take care of the people, they take care of everything else. So connection with individuals is certainly important to me. Innovation. I just told you about Rye as an example and continue to work on that. We have to be innovative. We have to be transformative. And I think COVID, if nothing, has certainly catalyzed and underscored the importance of that, especially in healthcare, but really in terms of everything that we do. And it's those small tweaks, those small movement forward that really do make the difference. So those are kind of the things that I certainly want to lean on during my administration, if you want to call it that, as I lead this organization. And as always, really help to bring others along, especially our emerging leaders. Now, I will say well-being, again, coming up with the pandemic is very important. And we'll try to emphasize that, right? Like taking care of oneself, mental health, emotional health, reducing burnout, reducing burden. Those are elements that we want to infuse, and hopefully we may even bring some programming around that, because healthcare industry and the healthcare workforce particularly need that right now. So those are kind of some of the themes that I certainly want to elevate in 2022 as the president of the ACHA of Florida.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the programs. You've had excellent programs in the past, and you're right. Coming out of the pandemic, as we are right now, I think we're getting a little bit more movement. People are looking forward to getting back to, pre-COVID. However, we all know you can't erase the last 2 years. We definitely have had to do a lot of soul searching ourselves. We've embraced more technology than we probably have at any other time as a nation. But that's allowed us to open up into new worlds. and to actually reach out in different ways. So I really, really like that. And I wanted to ask you personally, how do you define your core competency, your expertise, your abilities, and your existing level of recognition, or what your brand is, when it comes to personal expertise and executive presence?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I think for me, when it comes to my brand, I think it comes back to my personal values, right? There's your personal values, kind of the framework within which you operate. And then there's your personality, of course. And of course, then you have those skill set that you hone. And I'm going to work backwards a little bit, if that's okay. As a consultant, like I said, having an incredible learning agility, you have to be able to learn things very quickly, very timely, so that you can be of service to the people that you serve. But also leadership skills, right? It's really important that you can lead others. And sometimes leadership is not even about, having authority over people. It's really having the influence to help them get to the vision that you've hopefully communicated, right? And that's, again, what I bring, because as a consultant, you have to go into these entities and you're perhaps focused on a singular problem or multiple problem. You have to establish relationships very quickly and then lead them to solutions very quickly, right? You have a very limited time and again, limited relationship that you're working off of. And you have to be able to, again, bring a lot of things together and provide the adequate leadership. So leadership skills, I think, is something that I certainly bring forward in terms of my skills and my competency as well. In addition to just the core of what I do, critical analytical thinking, right? And everyone really should develop this skill set regardless. But certainly it's part of the work that I do. Have to be able to go in, analyze things very quickly, put some, assign some critical thinking and help to arrive at a solution. But also, I would say that strategic planning, ability to plan strategically. And I think that's what, people come to me for sometimes. Hey, we're trying to do a 3-year, 5-year plan. Can you help us, see what needs to be done? And when I take stock of what the current is, then, of course, do my appropriate interview and research, I'm able to help them derive what a plan is that would be adequate for them. So again, those are those core competencies. But all of those things, again, lean back into who I am, which is about people. Connecting with people, right? I love it. When you connect with people, the business thing just falls on it very smoothly, and it's a lot easier to earn trust and have business relationship when you have a good person-to-person or interpersonal relationship with someone. And of course, trust, like I mentioned, very important. That's part of the competency that I bring to the table. I expect you to trust me, and I trust you that we can make things happen. So to that end, those are all of the things that make up my brand, but also core competency, and again, speaks to my values, right? Integrity, trust, personal connection, and then, like I said, all of those things, technical things that you just have to know, not to be too repetitive, but I do definitely want to underscore that those things are very, very important,
No, it's
regardless of
very,
where you
very
are.
important.
Yeah.
You're speaking on some values, some themes that propel you forward in your career and allows other people to engage with you. And I wanted to step back just a little bit. I always unplug at some point in my interviews, and I want you to be able to speak to our younger audience, maybe even people that are still in that K through 12 world. And you talked a lot about mentoring, and you've put together some programs. I want you to talk to that, as you look at that one thing, maybe a couple of things that are always just some gaps that you see, even though they've got their education, they've got some other things going on, but you see this like it's a gap that's there. And especially when I say young females, because a lot of females are in the healthcare industry. If you could speak to them and allow them to, express yourself and allow them to, get some guidance in that area.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to do that. So as I said, being a mentor, helping others, helping what I refer to as emerging leaders, because they're the future, right? That's my passion. And the first thing I'd like to tell the younger folks is that I know, even at my age, at my level, that the world is challenging, right? All the information that's coming at them very quickly, they have to sift through a lot, there's peer pressure, all of those things exist, and I totally get that. But at the end of the day, they do have to go back to that core value to identify who they are so that they can navigate the world. I mean, that's just really, otherwise you just kind of blow with the wind, wherever the wind takes you, and then you find yourself to be very lost. So you have to have some kind of anchor to define who you are, and then always come back to that when you're getting all of those inputs and stimuli from the environment, and you need to make decisions very quickly so that you don't get stressed out. I think that's important. The other thing I want to say is that please believe in yourself. Some days are better than others, that's true. All doors will not necessarily open. Some will. But if the door is closed, you can rest assured there's a window that's open somewhere. And it's really important for you to trust yourself and believe in yourself. It's so important. Surround yourself with people that sponsor your interests. If someone is always saying nay to ideas, to who you are, if they're always critical of you, then rethink whether you want that relationship, because that will impact your thinking. It will impact how you process information, how you see yourself, which will then impact how you navigate the world. So believe in yourself. You have got to do that. That's my second advice. The third is you got to find mentors. And people think, the word mentor is this person that's just over the top, that's totally that has it together, that's on top of their game, and that's fine too. But your mentor is just that person who is doing something that you're interested in. Talk to them. That person that has been there before, hey, I know this, you did this, could you please tell me how you do it? Or I have an interest in doing this thing, could you show me the ropes? What do I need to do to be prepared to do whatever it is you just saw that person did? It could be anybody. There could be our family members, our uncles, aunt, brother, sister, mother, father, or it could be outside of that. It could be a neighbor. It could be someone at your institution, your religious institution. It could be someone at a community health center that you go to. It could be anybody that you think is already in the place that you want to be. Ask them to please mentor you. And people are always willing to help. Believe it or not, they actually want to help much more than people realize, right? So those are the things, seek assistance, seek mentorship, seek advice of others, believe in yourself, absolutely, know that you can do it, and then find a way to always come back to those values that you have. And as you're evaluating different things, ask yourself, is this in alignment with my value? Or am I just going along because of the peer pressure? Is this right for me? Or am I just doing it just because? And I think if you think about those three things, that would be my advice to the young folks, right? Because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. But the key thing is to find someone who can help you. Ask your questions, pose your questions to them. And I think they'll be glad to help you along. And that would be my advice.
That is excellent advice, Bukky. That is wonderful, wonderful. Oyinkansola. I like say that. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I've been waiting all episode to say that. So,
You're pretty close. You were right there. So. All right.
I'll take that. So tell me, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
So LinkedIn is really the best way. Of course, I always try to get to items as quickly as I can, as often as I can. We're all very busy, and I totally get that. But LinkedIn is the best way, because I always make sure I eventually circle to that. Also, I'm a member of NCHE, of course, that directly as well. So if you're a member of NCHE, you can easily find me, not a problem. And then, of course, my website, www.FUNMI.com. Please feel free to, you can drop a note there as well. That comes right to me by email. But I really just prefer LinkedIn, to be quite honest with you, because that's a great way for me to connect with folks. And of course, you stay connected, right? Once you accept the connect, it's kind of a LinkedIn, then you can always exchange emails from there.
Well, thank you very much, Bukky. This has been fantastic, sharing the things that are important to you. So I invite my entire audience to see all the episodes of Follow Brand. You can tune in at www.5starbdm. That's B for brand, D for development, and M for masters.com. Until next time, take care. Thanks a lot, Bukky.
Thank you. And appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're most welcome.